Chasdi is an associate professor at Walsh College, where he teaches international security and international business management. He's also author of Counterterror Offensives for the Ghost War World, the Rudiments of Counterterrorism Policy. I asked him why the media should be cautious in using terrorism to describe the Las Vegas tragedy.
At a technical level, what scholars usually do is they distinguish between different types of terrorism: political terrorism, criminal terrorism, psychotic terrorism in addition. And then there are other categories as well. As of now, we really don't have any indication of any substantive political undertones or underpinnings to this attack. And I'm hoping anyway, this is one of the reasons that this is not labeled as terrorism. Because by default, when we talk about terrorism, we're thinking about political terrorism, but this certainly qualifies as criminal terrorism. And as it stands now, this mass murder would probably fall under the category of criminal terrorism.
There's a comedian talk show host here in the U.S., Jimmy Kimmel. He spent 10 minutes of his monologue the other night talking about this. He said after the shooting, people were saying nothing can be done, and he said, yes, things can be done, but the sense is that Congress is not going to pass any meaningful changes when it comes to gun control or any type of legislation that way. So that leads me to my next question. One of your research interests is multinational corporation security in an increasingly globalized world. If something doesn't happen, do you see a time where hotels install metal detectors? How are corporations going to deal with this threat? Because obviously they have to be concerned about it as well.
Well, yes, I do. I think this might indeed be a watershed event in terms of transforming some of the protocols and greater security approaches that the hotel industry and concert venue security personnel take. So, for example, you would see, I think, over time, at least the call for, at least in some areas that are considered geographically or otherwise high risk, the introduction of metal detectors and X-ray machines for baggage coming into the hotel. This individual had 10 suitcases full of rifles. But it goes even deeper than that. One of the problems here is that he put a "Do Not Disturb" sign on his door and wasn't disturbed by the cleaning staff for at least 2 days. That's a protocol that's going to have to change.
It seems interesting to me that those type of sacrifices need to be made, and yet people who have guns don't have to make any changes.
Well, and that's part of the problem. Mitch McConnell has sort of blown off the question by saying the investigation is still ongoing, and President Trump has been vague in terms of what time period he's going to really start thinking about the prospect of gun control. We'll be talking about it at some indeterminate period of time. But of course, Dianne Feinstein's proposal that I think dates back to 2013 to ban bump stock and other conversion kits so that in effect semi-automatic weapons can act as if they're fully automatic weapons. I'm not overly sanguine. I'm not overly hopeful that anything significant is going to happen because of the NRA lobby. And we've seen tragedies before. What we need is leadership among legislators in Congress to put aside some of the more parochial interests of gun owners in their districts and stand up and say, hey, wait, we've got an endemic problem here in the United States in terms of the proliferation of guns, and that we have to act in effective and sustained ways now.